A lot of you guys have been asking me how big of a difference I've noticed it's made since I've gotten noticeably leaner with girls in particular. And I've been putting off making this video until I've noticed like some drastic differences. And after what happened last night, I definitely think it's time I make this video and give you guys all the raw data I possibly can from the differences I think it's made, and that it could hopefully influence some of you guys to take your leanness to the next level. But yeah, this is surface level knowledge. Obviously, we all fucking know, lean is law. Like even the gray pillars know this. But yeah, maybe some of my anecdotes will put you over the edge a little bit. So one thing that I think we need to all understand though is that everyone's experience is going to be very different, and that's specifically in terms of the discrepancy of results before and after leaning down, depending on your facial fat distribution. So the reason I've been putting off making this video for a while is because the way my facial fat distribution is, I definitely do notice that it's leaned out, but not to the extent that some other people may experience leaning out. Like my face, even when I'm at a high body fat percentage, my face is still relatively fine, and I tend to get approached without issues in clubs, and I have plenty of relationships without issue. But that's even when I'm at like a higher body fat percentage. Now, the main difference for me is like when I actually show my leanness, and that's something I experimented with last night. So first of all, there definitely is, even though like, as I explained before, even though my face usually doesn't get too bloated, at least like not to the extent it does for other people. Like again, I definitely do notice my face leaned out for sure. But yeah, I definitely did notice like slight differences when I would go to the club. Like interaction seemed a little bit easier. Seemed like I did get approached maybe slightly more without showing my body, just from my facial leanness alone. And this is with all the other variables being the same from the past, like same environments, going to the same types of clubs, hair being the same, trying my facial beard, like being the different lengths. I've tried all the variables, trying to compare and contrast, and not including last night, but just in general, just from the facial leanness alone, I think I did notice, there have been some differences, but to be fully honest, I've always done relatively decently at clubs. I've always been approached to a decent degree, but last night was definitely to a much higher degree than usual. And it's because I decided to experiment with literally like unbuttoning my shirt like halfway down. So usually I'll unbutton my shirt a decent bit and show off my chest, but I decided to unbutton it even further to actually show some of my upper abdominal area too. And this seemed to have made like a very drastic difference. Of course, it could have been coincidental. And I think another big factor was, there is a lot of truth in social proof theories and preselection. Once that train reaction starts of like one girl talking to you for a while and like being touchy with you, all the other girls in the vicinity kind of notice what's happening, and that like boosts your perception to them. So I know the black pill doesn't like to acknowledge this too much, because that kind of, someone left a great comment recently saying that the reason the black pill community is reluctant to accept the truths behind things like preselection, or that personality can hold some weight too, is because it gives some leverage to the PUAs. And that's a really valid point. I think it's important that we be objective though, and we don't buy those courses, we don't spend money on those courses from the PUAs, but we acknowledge that there's some truth in a lot of those theories. And so pre-selection definitely probably played a factor, because as soon as I got to the club last night, I started off with my shirt like unbuttoned a little bit, and some girl had already came up to me, some Latina girl, and her friend were talking to me for a little bit, and she like very touchy. You know, you could tell when the girl is like really into you. And then from this interaction, like other girls were trying to like get my attention and pull me away. And then so I got a drink and I started like deviating my attention a little bit to another group of girls, and the same thing happened. Now I'm with this group of three girls, and we're like standing in this area where a lot of people have to walk past through the bar. And you could know what atmosphere I'm talking about. You could kind of imagine the environment, because I actually vlogged one of my outings with my cousin at this place. It's called Little Sister. It's my favorite place to go to in New York City, because the ratio is always ideal compared to most clubs, because the bouncer there curates it really specifically. He cares about the reputation of the place. But if you want to see what this place looks like, I actually vlogged one of my outings there, and I tried to have some of my interactions recorded by my cousin for like some proof of what I'm talking about, because you know it's hard to just like yap about these anecdotes and them to just like be believed at face value. Like, I understand to a degree I got to produce some receipts so you guys actually take this data seriously. So you could check out that vlog and you'll see like how I will do typically at clubs. Anyway, so you'll see how that environment kind of looks. And so like there's this area in front of the bar where a lot of people always have to walk past, and now I'm with this group of three girls. One of them is trying to like claim me over her friend. She's like dancing up all on me, you know, trying to kiss me, all that stuff. And the other girl, the original Latina girls, keep like side-eyeing and looking back like clearly jealous. And it's funny how backwards females are. Like, this just makes them want you more. Like, before learning about any of this shit, I would think like that's the opposite, you know? But no, females are completely backwards. They're hypergamous. This is all surface level knowledge though that you guys should know. I'm just trying to explain these things for maybe some of you guys who might not be too familiar with behavior. Anyway, so as we're in this area and those two girls are watching me and I'm dancing with these three girls, then another two girls come up to me and they start dancing like with me and the other girls, like trying to like diplomatically steal me away from them, like without being obvious and aggressive. It was so interesting. It's like they started like talking to me and flirting with me, and then the other girls, like, they realized like what was going on, like, you're about to take this guy or whatever. So like there was clear tension. And then I started talking to that other girl because she was a lot more attractive. And so yeah, we started hooking up, and she had a friend with her and I had my boy with me. So I told her immediately like, yeah, this is my friend, you know, and perfect two-man situation right there. And that's actually the girl I ended the night with. But it just goes to show, like, first of all, chain reaction is huge. Like, pre-selection, social proof, all these things are very real, because I genuinely think, while yes, like the leanness played a factor, I think that was a big contributor, like opening my shirt up for the first time, because when these girls were touching me, they were like touching my abdominal area, and they're like trying to open my shirt more and all. I mean, you guys have probably seen videos of female behavior like this in clubs before. But yeah, so I definitely think it mattered, the leanness there, because this time it wasn't just my facial leanness. This time it was like they were admiring my body too. And you guys got to know, I'm not big at all. Like, I'm an athletic build. You know, I have like the fighter's physique. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not like trying to gain muscle or whatever, not doing steroids, any of that. But you guys should know, surface level black pill knowledge, like, that's enough. Like, you got to understand the female gaze. They like a little bit of muscle foundation, so you look at aesthetic and athletic. and then the rest of it is like all leanness. So yeah, like I don't have an ideal body at all. Like I'm not like super jacked or whatever, but it just goes to show like you can just build a relatively small amount of muscle and naturally, and then just lean down. And I'm not saying you're going to be able to get the same results as me. It's going to depend on your face and height, of course, too. But I do want to highlight that I think it did have an impact for sure. And I also don't want to exclude the fact that I think social proof and preselection played a huge factor as well, especially in that particular environment where it's a lot smaller and like all the girls kind of see what's going on. And also, what was so interesting is there at this club in particular, one thing I'm not a huge fan of is there's a lot of like absolutely like very, very tall. I think they're like NBA players that sometimes come, but it goes to show the weight of like it not just being height, but like the weight of all three things, that the trinity mattering more than just like one thing being absurdly high. Because I see these guys who are like 6'8" and 6'10" and up, and the girls that they're entertaining are actually not that attractive. I remember I met Wemby there. I don't watch basketball. I don't watch sports, but I know some of these players' names because I'll like ask like, "Yo, who's that guy? Who's that guy?" to some guys who might be familiar with sports there, and they'll tell me like, "Oh, that's Wemby" or whatever. I've seen some like other NFL players there too, and these are guys who are like 6'5" and up, and the basketball players are like 6'8" and up. And it's interesting to see like the girls that they're entertaining are not that attractive for the most part. A lot of the girls who you would consider to be like high tier Beckys and some Stacy Lights, Stacy's are still extremely, extremely rare. Like even at this club, I've maybe seen like from my years of going there, like maybe like several Stacys. Like they're just so rare to come across. But the high tier Beckys that you'll see there and occasional Stacy Lights, they're not gravitating towards these guys usually. It's interesting. They're gravitating towards like a lot of like what you would think would be like regular looking guys who are above average height, like 6 foot to like the 6'4" range in there, and like a relatively handsome face. And it's just very interesting to see. I see these like big athletes there, the girls that they're entertaining, and even when they have a table or whatever, these girls who are surrounding their tables are really not all that. Like I wouldn't go home with a lot of them, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, that's just an interesting observation I wanted to point out, because these girls that like some of the ones that I was with that night, they have the option to like get with these like 6'8", 6'10" guys, but it goes to show that like it's really all three things that matter most, and how like the synergy of all them together matter. And even if you're like 6'8", if your face isn't like handsome, it doesn't like put you as high as you would think, which is like, it's just very interesting data. It's very like interesting to see this stuff like play out. Now that's not to say like all of those 6'8" guys and up aren't like getting the super hot girls. Like I'm sure there are some that I didn't like pay much attention to, because honestly like I try not to fucking look in any guy's direction at all. But you can't fucking miss it. Like they're just in your peripheral vision. Like every human there is in your peripheral vision. So like I make observations and I see like, okay, these girls are over here at this table, these girls are over here at this table. So yeah, that was just like some interesting data that I figured I'd share too. That yeah, I think I'm starting to like just be more and more convinced that it's like face has more importance than height. Even to a higher degree than what most black pillars will accept. But yeah, I still think it's very close. Like there's still like a debate to be had, of course, there. But yeah, it's just an interesting thing how much face really matters. Face, phenotype, race, like all of it, it's just very, very important. Anyway, I figured I would share all that from my experience last night, to hopefully convince some of you guys to like take your leanness to the next level. I'm still actively trying to get leaner, and I don't know how long I'll maintain it for until I start trying to build muscle up again, but I'd say I'm about like 12% right now, and my goal is to try to get to 9%. It's been a struggle, I'm not gonna lie. Like I've been kind of stuck at this 12% area, and it's not because of hunger. That's not what's hard. It's because like the fatigue. Like it's just very draining. So I've been intentionally trying to take it slow, to not crash my testosterone and completely crash my energy. But yeah, I'm trying to get a little lower, get to maybe 9%, take some pictures, and then from there build up some muscle. So yeah, that's some data from the club, some direct data from like first initial encounters. Some other data I figured I would share with you. Well, I mean, I already shared it with you guys if you watched my video, the update video with Monica, and how I talked about the topic of revealing your hand signaling low genetic value. It's a good video. You should watch that. Definitely something important you always want to keep in mind. But in that video, I also mentioned how when she strategically ghosted me to like try to boyfriend bait me because she wants me to be her boyfriend, like we've been seeing each other for like 8-9 months and I haven't committed to her. So she strategically tried to ghost me, see if I would pursue, but I knew the deal. In short, you can watch the full video on it for more details, but to sum it up, like obviously I didn't capitulate and I didn't like double text her or whatever. I just waited, and then she's down to see me again anyway and still not have to commit to her. And when she saw me again for the first time in like from that 2-month period or so, or however long it was, she noticed how lean I got. And that's the only girl I've been seeing where I noticed a difference, because like she articulated it, she said it, but the other girls that I'm seeing, Skyline and Starla, it's really like I can't really notice any difference with the desire, because like it was gradual and their desire was always high to begin with. Like they're the type who is always initiating. I mean, that's the only dynamic I'm really gonna entertain anyway. But yeah, I can't really notice a difference with them. That's why I was reluctant to make this video and share the data, because it's like, even though I got leaner, like their desire is already here. It's like it's not gonna go much further. But what I will say with Monica, she definitely articulated it, like she was explaining like you look completely different, but from like the desire itself, like the energy, it still was the same as like the last time I saw her. So it's hard to say that that increased as well. So yeah, big takeaway there is that like, yeah, still face and height is ruling, obviously. You know, this is surface level knowledge. Do I really need to say this? But when it comes to like initial impressions, this is where I definitely noticed the difference. You know, like when you're out at a club or whatever, if you're someone who holds a lot of fat in their face, yeah, that's going to make a huge difference for you. For me, the face alone didn't make that much of a huge difference because I already don't hold a ton of fat in my face. But when I opened up my shirt, yeah, like I feel like I definitely noticed a bit of a difference. So yeah, hopefully this kind of motivates you a little bit. This kind of like influences you to step on the gas a little bit in trying to get leaner, trying to like prioritize your physique a little bit more. And again, that doesn't mean like put on a crazy amount of muscle. Like, don't be a fucking gym coper. Don't be like these gray pillar looks maxers who think things like frame are even close to important as height. But in terms of physique, frame is the most important thing, like more so than your muscles. But it's just funny how they're still like on the surface level of the black pill knowledge. But yeah, you guys should know female gaze by now. Like, you guys aren't rookies. But yeah, hopefully this motivates you to step on the gas a little bit. Because, yeah, if I had opened my shirt at like 16% body fat, yeah, I don't think that's helping me much. But opening my shirt at like 12% body fat, yeah, I think that makes a big difference, honestly. And remember, guys, I'm not big. Like, I'm literally just lean. That's it. Lean with like an athletic build. Literally look like someone who runs, does like calisthenics, martial arts, that kind of build. Like that's an ideal build you want to shoot for. Now, if you genuinely enjoy building muscle, like it's a hobby of yours, I'm not saying it's gonna hurt you unless you take it to the extreme, but there's definitely like very diminishing returns, and also it does get to the point where it becomes negative because it comes off like you're compensating. This does matter, like behavior matters. It looks like you're compensating for insufficient genetic material if you're like getting too big. So yeah, be careful with that. It's something that no gym coper is ever going to tell you, but it's truth. Because remember, guys, everything comes down to genetic perception, how they're analyzing your genetic value. And yeah, there's compensating. Like they know when you're compensating. Yeah, if you go down the route of taking steroids and you really blow up, not only is it not the ideal aesthetic for them, like it literally becomes unattractive, but it also comes off as compensating. So be very careful with that. But anyway, this is all surface level knowledge. This was just like a highly requested video I made. Like a lot of people in the Discord are always asking me about this. And I figured after last night, this was like a perfect opportunity to talk about it because I definitely am noticing the differences for sure. Oh, another thing. You know what? I'll save that for another topic. Subscribe. It's already getting too long. I'll see you later. As I was editing the video, I kind of realized this was turning into more of a video on evidence of preselection, more so than the benefits of being lean. And with that said, I figured I would also add some additional details that I think were important evidence of preselection, having a lot of weight in the club, some other stuff that happened. So to start, when I was talking to those two Latina girls, one of them was really into me. The other one I sort of passed off to my friend. And the interaction was going great. Dynamic was great. And while she was looking the other way towards the bar trying to order a drink, there was a blonde girl trying to get my attention. And I think a big reason for this is because I was already with a girl. Something girls love to do at clubs is try to like steal you away from another girl. And I talked about earlier in the video how this actually ended up happening when I was with that other group of 3 girls. Well, since I was with this girl at the moment, this girl tried to like take my hand and pull me away. She wasn't as attractive as the Latina girl, so I actually stayed. And we talked for a second, and the Latina girl heard it. And she was like, what was that girl saying to you? Why was she pulling you? And I was like, it doesn't matter. I chose you. I stayed with you, though. And then she was just like, I love that. I like that. I like that. And it was very genuine. Like, you could tell, like, she actually really did enjoy the fact that the guy that she chose is then being chosen by other girls. It was like, it's like validation that she made the right choice, if that makes sense. Later in the night, when I was with the last girl, the one who I was hooking up with and I ended up finishing the night with, when I was with her, we noticed as we were hooking up, some girl was putting a camera flash on us. And it wasn't just a picture flash, which lasts like 1 second. It was a flash that was ongoing for like a whole video. It was probably like 10 to 12 seconds or so. It felt like an eternity. And she was like, why is this like flash on us? And the girl was like 10 feet away, like 8 feet away. So you can't really say for sure, like, she's, like, pointing it directly at us, recording us. But through the flash, I was able to see it was a Latina girl, the first Latina girl from earlier in the night. And I told the girl that I was hooking up with, I told her, I was like, oh, the girl's jealous because I was with her earlier, but now I'm with you. And I just saw like a fire in her eyes, like light up even more. Her desire was already high, but after I said this, it was like someone shot her with some fucking adrenaline or something. And yeah, it was just so interesting how, like, if you say something like that, you could probably even fabricate saying things like that strategically. You know, if you're in a club and some girl comes up to you while you're talking to another girl, you might be able to find a strategic way to fabricate what she said to you to spike the other girl's interest that you're talking to. So that was just something I thought of too. And also something funny is when I was talking to my friend, I left the girl for a second to talk to my friend. There's this area of tables to the right of where we were. And I guess that group of girls from the table had seen me the entire last like 45 minutes with this girl or 30 minutes with this girl. And because of that, I think pre-selection played a factor on them too. They pulled over me and my friend into that table of girls. And nothing came of it, but the other girl that I was just with, that I left for a second, she came over to me while I was in this group, and she was like, oh, I see how it is. And before I actually looked in her direction, because I knew it was her, like, she kept, like, hitting me, like, trying to get my attention. And, yeah, it's just funny because even though that happened, and even though I went to go entertain some other girls, I went back to her afterwards, and it was completely fine. And she was like, you better, like, hit me up tomorrow. Like, you better, like, follow me back on Instagram. You know, like, it was clear, like, the desire level didn't change at all, even though I went to go entertain some other girls. This is a real surface level knowledge. Like, you guys should all know this by now, but I'm just trying to provide some, like, real anecdotal data to you guys. And I know it's just like another drop in the pond, but I think it is important. I think it's important that I do share it. Because, yeah, there is really a lot of weight with pre-selection, and I think leveraging pre-selection is probably the best thing you could possibly do when you're in those club or bar environments, or just in general in life, honestly. It's like trying to find ways to leverage that. And this is like the oldest thing in the book. We see it in movies, we see it in television shows, women like naturally getting jealous. And the black pill just like kind of just reluctant to talk about these topics. But, you know, if you're decent looking, you don't have to be a Chad. Like, if you're decent looking, you could leverage these tactics to a degree, and they could act synergistically, and they actually do help you. So I guess what I'm trying to do is like sort of bridge, you know, that gap between the black pill and, I wouldn't even call it red pill so much, because there's a lot of psychological concepts that deviate from the red pill camp as well. But yeah, I guess just from like human nature lessons, I'm trying to bridge that gap with the black pill genetic knowledge and trying to tie that together with like evolutionary facts as well, because that's what it all comes down to. Like, why we behave in certain ways. Like, why do women get jealous? Why do their desire increase? Like, it all comes down to evolution. That's what it really comes down to. It's like we have certain things that we're wired for because they were once successful for in evolution. And while our environment now is radically different, these traits, they still exist. This is the residue of evolution. And so I think it's important we address them as well. And it's probably going to help you guys. Like, I'm not going to spoon feed every single thing to you guys, but like, I'm sure you can imagine how you can, like, if you're watching this and you're high IQ, you could find a way to strategically fabricate some pre-selection in a club environment, you know? And even just like simply talking to a woman and knowing that, like, you're not going to convert with her, just talking to her is better than talking to no one, because then the other girls are going to see it. The other girls are going to see you talking. An important nuance to note, though, is like they're going to see precisely the dynamic, like how you're talking. They could kind of tell if it's very platonic, so you have to try to integrate some teasing and touch into, laughing. Make sure there is some kind of a playful element there, and it's not just, like, you don't want to just ask them questions like, where do you work? Like, what fucking college do you go to? This is what my cousin does, and I always condemn him. I'm like, no, you don't want to do that. Retard max. Tease them, bully them a little bit. Wit works if you want to be smart, but yeah, just tease them, bully them, play retarded, dance with them. The girl doesn't even have to be into you to dance with you. Like, a lot of girls would just dance. And then what that ends up doing, like, even if you're dancing with a girl that you don't find attractive, a girl that you don't even want to take home, just you dancing with her, the other girls are going to look over and they're going to acknowledge that. So look, I'm not saying this is going to, like, save all of you, obviously, but there's some truth here in pre-selection at clubs that, I think this community needs to be a little bit more open-minded too. And at the end of the day, I want to try to help you guys. So, yeah, maybe a little bit of like a hope pill. That's it.